Hi, Mary J. Morton here. Welcome to my podcast, Take the Limits Off. I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. This is the very first one, so you haven't missed anything. So pull up a chair and let's have a chat. What made me start this podcast was that I realized that every person is born with purpose. And I realized that it's human for us to sometimes get stuck. And so I wanted to bring us together to help you realize your potential, maximize your purpose, and to get out of that place of just the status quo. So I felt it was important for me to start this podcast for that reason. What it means to me to take the limits off is, I feel like in life, we have come into this space of conformity where we look the same, act the same, behave the same, and we're really not living the best version of ourselves. And so for me, it's important to help you learn how to take the limits off, how to live the best version of yourself, how to experience life in a way that is meaningful, where you look back over your life and you're like, wow, that was pretty amazing, versus, it was all right. So for me, Take the Limits Off is really equipping you with the tools and the resources that you need to live a full and happy life. That's a really good question. How can we identify the limits that are holding us back from reaching our full potential? I believe begins with identifying the what. Sometimes we focus on the how, but it's the what. Have you ever had something in your mind that you wanted to do, and then your logic, reasoning, and practicality talked you right out of it? I know I have. And that's what's really holding us up. You know, as I think about coaching, I love what I get to do. And it's great when my clients have breakthroughs or ahas, but for me, it's about getting to the root of it. So I think about the saboteurs, right? We have the judge, we have avoider, we have people pleaser. And the one that we all struggle with is that judge. It's the master saboteur that compels you and I to find faults within ourselves, within others, circumstances, and situations. And it generates much of what we experience, like stress, anxiety, and frustration, disappointment, anger, regret, shame. And if we can identify what the what is, then we're able to overcome it and be able to maximize our full potential. So it's the what for me. One way to break free from the societal expectations and limitations that they put and impose upon us is to really get clear on your own personal identity. It's about knowing who you are and what you want to do. And so I know that it's very tempting, I've been there, to just kind of fall into the norm, to fit in, if you will, whether it's personal relationships, professional relationships, whether it's in business. And what we find ourselves doing is becoming a part of the status quo, becoming common and average. But the truth is that there's nothing common or average about you. Each one of us has this unique personality and purpose that life is calling for us to answer to. So again, for me, it's about finding your own personal identity and asking yourself the important question: what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to accomplish in life? And then going for it. I recall my very first one-on-one with my mentor, Dr. Cindy Trim, and she said, write this down. And it was this: I cannot outperform my current concept of self, nor rise above the level of my self-worth. So what that means to me is that There's always opportunity for growth and expansion. I like the way Tom Hopkins said, he said, "You are your greatest asset." Put time, effort, and money into training, grooming, and encouraging your greatest asset. How do our beliefs and self-perception affect our ability to reach our full capabilities? First of all, we have to evaluate our thoughts. What's your thought life like? It reminds me of a writer in the Bible who says, "As a man thinks in his heart or her heart, so is he or she." And so it's important for you and I to understand that what we think influences what we believe, which influences how we perceive. It influences our attitude. It influences our impact. So we have to get rid of our own self-authored limiting beliefs about who we are and what you're capable of. We just have to get rid of it. Well, for me personally, I have what's called a success circle of trust. And it consists of a mentor, a coach, a confidant, and even a lawyer. And these are people that you surround yourself with who will challenge you, who will celebrate you, who will stretch you, who you can be your most authentic self with. And so it provides this community that is safe. Some people call it a tribe, but for me, it's that success circle of trust, and it's really understanding what you need and who you need in this particular time of your life. So, for instance, who might have been a part of your life years ago, served you well years ago, but because we're always evolving, it requires us to tap into the genius of other people. Especially those mentors who are where you aspire to be. So I would encourage you to consider surrounding yourself with a success circle of trust. So from a network side, it's important that we put ourselves in situations where we get to meet new people. That will help us to break through our limits. It gives us an opportunity to showcase what we've done, what we aspire to do, and also it just, again, helps us to build a community of new networks and alliances and partnerships. So it's very important. I'm thinking about a time when I worked at Nike and we had a huge initiative that we were driving and working towards. And I just remember my VP saying to the team, "Listen, this is a time when you're going to have to dial up. And you will have opportunities to dial down, but this isn't one of them." And so I would ask you, what season are you in? What is it requiring of you right now? How much time do you need to invest in this season? And to be watchful of burnout. So are you getting the ample rest, recovery? Are you rejuvenating yourself? You have to ask yourself these questions. And so in order for us to really give the best of ourselves, to have the best creative and innovative thoughts, it will require us to set some boundaries. One other thing is, let the main thing be the main thing. Sometimes we get so encumbered with this project, that task, and this task that we are stretched beyond limits. So what is really at the focal point? What's most important right now? And if we can identify that, then it gives us the ability to turn away and say no to the things that aren't a priority. Yeah, one question comes to mind. What part of life's history do you want to write that's inerasable? What's the legacy that you want to leave? But more importantly, what's the legacy that you want to live? It reminds me of a powerful quote from Les Brown in his book, "You've Got to Be Hungry." And it's more like, "You got to be hungry" in Les Brown's voice. But he says this, "Whatever you want to do, you must do it now. Make the move now. When you have ideas, goals, and dreams, you must live your life with a strategy of now." So those are the words that I want to leave with you. Take the limits off. So that wraps up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And I want to invite you to show up the next time because we're going to be talking about saboteurs. Remember that, Judge? Let's expose them. So I'll see you next time.